take to land a brand new job, and how can you speed up the process? When people start a job search, they want to know how long it's going to take, right? And that's fine. It's a common question. I'm committing to something, so how long it's going to take to get the results I want? How long do I need to wait until I finally land a new job? I was asked this question many times, and before doing this video, I decided to do some online research. I went on Google to check what other people say about it, which is the average time that most of the candidates take when they want to land a new job. What I found online was not surprise to me, but it might surprise you. Study says that the average time that people take to land a new job changes between 6 to 7 months. Yeah, it's a long time, right? Almost half of a year to land a new job. And obviously this is considering that they are doing everything that it takes to get there, not just waiting and applying to one job offer and just, sitting on the counter waiting for that. So 6 months is the average time that people take to land a new job. The time will vary also according to the position level, to the reality of the job market for that specific area or position, to your qualification also, if you're ready or not to land a job. So there are a lot of other aspects that should be considered. It's not a set number. It's not that everyone will take exactly 6 months to land a new job, but it's just as a reference for you when you start the process to understand that it might be longer than most of people think that it can take. Landing a new job is not something that is going to happen in 1 month. It's not something like that from one day to the other. It's true that I had cases of clients who landed a new job. In her case was a fully remote job, her first remote job, after 2 sessions with me. So the process for her took like 3 to 4 weeks from, start searching, having 3 interviews, sending her curriculum and all of that, and land the job. But case like that should be treated as exception, not the rule. So don't take for granted that in 1 month, in 2 months, you're going to land a new job. Consider what the statistic is saying. Between 6 to 7 months to land a new job, but obviously it will depend on how you do things in the meantime. Why is it important to understand that a job search takes average of 6 months, and this is way longer than people think? First of all, you don't take things personally. I know it can be very frustrating when you are, applying for jobs and trying to land interviews, or maybe doing job interviews and not getting a positive feedback. So all those things can be very sad. It's hard to be in this process. So when we think that things will happen very fast, but we put the situation in perspective and we understand that it might take longer, it's easier to deal with the situation. So don't take things personally and understand that there is a process behind. And most of people will also take some time, months, to land a new job. It's important to understand that because you won't get frustrated in the process. So probably you're going to receive a lot of no's, or what is even worse in my opinion, a ghosting from the recruiter or the company, right? You contact them, you send your curriculum, you do the job interview, and you don't hear anything from the company. That's what I call ghosting. So those things will happen in the process. There will be days that you're going to be excited and motivated and very happy and sure that you're on the right path, but other days you won't be, as happy as that, and you're going to be thinking about giving up, and you're going to start finding excuses. So don't take things personally and try not to get frustrated in the journey. It will take time, but if you're doing things on the right way, it's a matter of time. It's also important to understand that job searching process might take long because it will affect the way you take the whole situation. If you approach the job search as a long-term commitment, as a long-term project, you're way ahead and you have more chances to succeed. If you take it like something that I'm gonna do this and the result will come and that's it, end of the story, chances are that you will not succeed in the process. So understand it as a long-term commitment, as a life project, because career and life are always together. I don't like to separate them. So understand that it's a long-term process and you need to balance your energy and do the right actions to get results faster. Now that you already know that a job search might take between 6 to 7 months, and that's a long time, let's see how you can speed up the process and make it shorter. I mean, it doesn't mean that everyone will take 6 months. Some people will take less. Some people will take more. So let's talk about specific things that you can do to speed up the process. The first thing you can do to speed up your job search process is have clarity about what you're doing. I mean, when you say I'm open to any job, it doesn't matter the industry, it doesn't matter the position, I'm completely fine with any kind of job. You're not doing yourself a favor. This is working against you. If you don't know where you're going, which kind of companies or jobs you're targeting, you're going to be lost in the process. You're going to waste time with things that are not necessary, with things that are not guiding you through the right direction. So clarity in the process is very important. I know that some people don't really know what is their next career move, and that's very common. So if this is your case, it's fine, but you need to decide the next step in your career. Maybe it won't be your dream job, maybe it won't be the company you want to spend the rest of your life, and that's fine, but you need to decide which is this next, the right after, like the next move that you want to do. You need to know that, because otherwise you're going to be lost, and it's difficult to walk towards the right direction if you don't know where you're going. So even if you don't have completely clarity about what will happen next, or what you want to happen next in your career, decide the next step, the next job, the next action you're going to take, and direct your time and energy to it. Forget this, I can do anything, any job is better than the job I have now, or any job is better than my current situation if I'm not working. No, you need clarity, because this is also going to help you to sell yourself as a good candidate when you move ahead into the job interviews and all of that. So clarity is the number one thing you want to take care to speed up the process of landing a new job. The second very important aspect to be successful in your job search and make the process faster is to tailor your curriculum, your LinkedIn profile, and your cover letter. When I say tailor, I mean to adjust, to make small changes to make it more fit to the position you want to apply for. Of course, you can have a generic curriculum that helps you. It's like a skeleton, it's like the base. But you should not send this curriculum to all the offers you're going to apply for. Why? Because it's impossible that one curriculum will fit all the positions. You have different experience, you have different background, companies are looking for different things. So it's important that if you're talking to one specific company, you tailor the information, the words, you use the same words that the company use in their job description. You talk about the achievements you had that are related to the needs that they have. So those small achievements, I know they take a lot of time, and probably that's why people don't really do it, or people also don't understand the importance of it, but it's really necessary that you tailor, that you adjust your curriculum, your cover letter to each job you're going to apply for. On LinkedIn, you don't need to do it all the time, but again, be specific and be smart in the process. So if you understand that your industry is always looking for A, B, and C aspects, and you have that in your profile, in your background, in your experience, make sure you mention this ABC in your LinkedIn profile. So the more you adjust, the more you speak the company's language, the more you reflect in your profile that you have the skill, you have the profile, you can solve the problem that the company is looking for, higher the chances are that they will talk to you. They want to interview you, and you probably meet their requirements. So forget about generic LinkedIn, generic curriculum, a very vague and open cover letter. No, you want to be specific. And that's why the previous aspect is so important. When you have clarity, it's easier to tailor and to be specific. So forget about generic curriculum, one resume that fits all the position. No, it's not like that. You can have a template, but you want to adjust, you want to tailor, you want to make small changes to every single job offer you want to apply for. Tailoring your curriculum and your LinkedIn profile is good when you will apply to job offers, but also to the other way around. There are headhunters that search for candidates, so it's a passive search from your side, but you need to be specific in your LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very key for this process. So if your LinkedIn is showing exactly the kind of job you want to have, your next career move, the kind of company you want to work for, headhunters will be able to find your profile if you're using the right keywords, if you're saying things in a clear way, in a very specific way. So remember, headhunters are also searching for a profile similar to yours. So are they going to find you or not? Are you showing the right skills and things that companies are looking for, or you're being very vague and open and people won't find you? The third aspect that will help you to speed up your job search is understand deeply the job market. Maybe you are out of the market for many years, maybe you want to change career. So in any case, you need to understand what the market is really looking for before you decide to make any commitment with an MBA, a post-graduation, an online course, anything like that. A lot of my clients, they ask me, Juliana, shall I take another course? Shall I specialize in something? Well, maybe, but first, let's take a look, a deep look, a careful look into the reality of the job market to understand what is really necessary. Maybe you think, you are assuming that a specific course is like mandatory, necessary to land a new job, and if you don't have that, you won't be successful. But once you check the reality of the market, and by that I mean check the job offer, check what are the requirements for the position, check what companies are asking for, maybe you'll see that that course you thought that was really important is not that important. Maybe out of 10 job descriptions that you check, only 1 or 2 are asking for that course, the others are asking for a different thing. Or the experience you already have actually match all the requirements. So don't waste your money and your time and your energy into expensive and fancy MBAs and all of that before you confirm that the market is really looking for that. You need to understand the reality of the market if you want to do or if you need to do a certain course. I'm completely pro courses and training and recycling, and I do that all the time. I'm always, learning new things. So I'm not saying you should not do that, but before you do that, go to the reality of the job market, understand which are the requirements for the kind of position you want to apply for the specific area you want to enter, and then you decide which course you're going to do, if you need to do some course, and then you choose the options. But first, you take a careful look into the reality of the job market. My fourth suggestion to speed up the process of landing a new job is making a list of the 10 up to 15 companies that you want to work for. Let's say your dream companies, those ones that you say, wow, I would really like to work in that company. I would do anything to work in that company. So first thing you should do is make a list. On a piece of paper on your computer, it doesn't matter, but make a list, have clarity about those 10 to 15 companies you want to work for. Why am I talking about 10 to 15? Because if you're talking about 3 to 5, it's difficult to make progress, so it's better to have a bit more options. But if you're talking about 50 companies, it's also very difficult to keep track, to follow up with them. So I think that 10 to 15 is a good number to start with, and that will keep you focused. So start by making this list of the 10 up to 15 dream companies that you want to work for. Once you have this list, make sure you follow the company on LinkedIn and know what is going on in the company. Be updated about new projects, new things, change of management, expansion, dismissal, whatever is happening in that company, you want to know about it. It's your dream company, right? So dedicate some time to receive information about that, and the easiest way to do is just follow the company on LinkedIn, so in your feed you're going to receive all the updates about the company. Second thing is to create a strong network with people that already work in that company. When I say people, I mean recruiters. It can be people in HR, people that will interview you at some point, but also the ones doing the same job that you want to do. People that would be your future colleagues, in your same position level. It's also interesting to have a strong network, to get to know them, to have a relationship with them. And third, hiring manager. People that will be your future bosses whenever you get the job, people that will interview you in the final stage of the process. So make sure you know whoever works in that company and that you are connected to them on LinkedIn, and you establish a relationship since the very beginning. Once you are connected to those key people in the organization, make sure you talk to them. It's not about being connected only and doing nothing. It's about once you are connected, you establish a conversation with them. And one important thing to cover here from your side is to understand the company's culture. What is really going on inside the company? How is to work there? What do they value? How is the day-to-day? So this information all those details, the best way to get that is from people who work in the company. That's the most accurate way to get this information. So make sure you not only connect to people that are already working in your dream companies, but you establish a relationship, you move forward, and you get to know the company's culture. Comment their posts. All those people that you already connected in the company, make sure you comment their posts, their videos, their content. And by comment, I mean adding something valuable. It's not just a like on LinkedIn. It could be, but I know you can go way further. So add value. Show your knowledge about that area. Show that you know what you're talking about. Make yourself interesting. Say something that can make their life easier, that can help their job. So connect to people, establish a relationship, get to know the culture, and add value when you engage with their content online. And finally, if you apply for a job, you move ahead in the recruitment process and you receive a no from one of your dream companies, don't take it as a final no. Just because they said no once, it doesn't mean it's a no forever. Because remember, this is one of your dream companies. So even if you receive a no, you're going to work on improving yourself, your skills, your abilities, whatever it takes to apply again. So don't take this no as a personal or a final no, and understand this is a process. So that's why it's important to have those companies clear on your list, because you're going to go back to them despite of the fact that you might receive a no at some point in your job search. The aspect number 5 that I want to highlight in order to speed up your job search and the process of landing a new job is to differentiate yourself as a candidate since minute 1. Look, the market is very competitive, and I don't know for which position you're going to apply for or which is your next career change, but I can guarantee you that there are a lot of people doing the same move, a lot of people that are searching for the same jobs and looking forward to work to the same company. So, I mean, that's the reality of the job market in general. So if you just do what everybody else is doing, there is nothing special about you. So sorry about that, but applying for jobs, having a great LinkedIn and resume and just, wait for the interviews to come will not really make you stand out as a great candidate. So taking care of how you act, the steps you follow during the job search is very important. So try to differentiate yourself since the beginning. One way to do that, I already mentioned it, but just to reinforce, have a strong network in the company that you want to work for. Whenever you apply for a job, it should not be the first time the company hear about you. Yes, let me say that again. When you apply for a job, people should already be familiar with your name, with your face, with your photo, with the way you are, with your perspectives about a specific situation or area or job. So people should know you before you apply for the job. Obviously, you're going to need to apply at some point, but it should be just like one more step of the process. If you have a strong network with key people in the company, if you are interacting, engaging with them before, whenever you apply, it's going to be like, oh, look, she applied for the job. Not who is this person. So make sure they know you before you apply for the job. Take care of your online presence in general. So some recruiters, not all of them, some recruiters don't have time to do that, but some recruiters will check you online, your Facebook account, your Instagram, obviously your LinkedIn and all of that. So be intentional about that. Do some cleaning in your social media if you need before you start the recruitment process. And what happened to me several times that I was very busy with a lot of open positions working as a recruiter, but then once I forwarded a candidate to the hiring managers were always checking the candidate's social media in general. So maybe you pass the initial steps of the process, but when your future manager is going to interview you, they will probably check you on social media. So be intentional, be careful about your online presence, and make sure you are seen and recognized by the things you want to be recognized for. So on LinkedIn, choose the kind of content you engage, choose the kind of content you're going to share. So focus on, I want to specialize on it, I want to be hired for this position, so I'm going to talk and add value about those topics, not a vague and very open way of acting online. When you finally get a job interview, prepare for that. I mean, this is so basic, but I need to say that again. So many people they assume that because they have done job interviews before, they don't need to prepare for the next interview. That's a big mistake. Every job interview requires preparation because every interview is different. The person who will interview you changed, the company changed, the position, the requirements. So don't take for granted that, oh, because I have done interviews before in my life, it's a piece of cake, I don't need to prepare for that. That's a big mistake that candidates do. So when you go for an interview, take the time to prepare before. That will definitely increase the chance that you land the job and you speed up the process in general. Also, follow up after you engage with the company, after you interact with them. You applied for a job offer, you spoke to the recruiter, you sent a message. If you heard nothing, just put an alarm in your agenda, and after some days, 7, 10 days, whatever, you follow up with the company. You did an interview. They said they would go back to you in about 1 week. 8, 9 days pass, you haven't heard from the company. It's time to follow up and say, hey, I'm still very interested in the position. I was wondering if you have any feedback about it, if you need any further information from my side. So you need to be organized about it, otherwise you forget. And once you start doing different interviews and interacting with a lot of recruiters and people from the company, it's easy to get lost. So set alarms in your agenda, like literally alarms. Maybe a follow-up will make all the difference. You know, maybe something happened in the company, maybe they sent you an email, it went to your spam inbox, so many things can happen. But if you follow up, you keep the track and you remind the company like, hi, I'm still interested in the position. Please let me know what is going on. And my final tip, but really, really important, could have been the first one, but I'm gonna say it at the end to wrap up. Be organized since the beginning of your job search. I share with my clients an Excel file for them to use since day one of us working together. And in this Excel, they will keep all the relevant information about the job search. The company's name, the contact, the requirements, the achievements they have related to it. So it doesn't matter the format of the Excel. Create your own Excel or a Word file or a notebook, whatever works better for you, but keep the track of everything, every single job offer, every connection, every person you talk in the company. Keep the track since the beginning. It's very easy to get lost about it, like you write something on a piece of paper, then you send an email to yourself with this information, and then you apply on LinkedIn. So if you have the information in different parts, it's easy to get lost. So make sure since day one you condense all the information in only one file, whatever format works for you, so it's easier to go back and to revisit that information, to do the follow-up. Whenever a company calls you and you not remember that you applied for the job, you go easily to that Excel file and you check which company, which position they are talking about. It's easier to follow up. So it's only advantage to keep since day one all the information regarding your job search in only one file, because it will make your life much easier. Job search should be taken as a marathon. It's not a sprint, it's not something that is going to happen just like that. So the better you prepare for that, the higher the chances that you succeed. And that you don't get sick, that you don't get sad, that you don't get demotivated in the process. So it's important to take care of yourself in the process. And I hope those tips and steps, very clear steps that I shared, help you in the process. If you need more help with that, if you want to work together and go deeper into how to organize your job search to speed up the process and land a new job that makes you happy faster, just send me a direct message and I'll be happy to share more information with you and work together. But remember, it's a long-term commitment and it's worth it, because it's your life, it's your career, it's your next new job. Considering that, let's see the time will vary always. So let's talk about, I share with my clients an Excel file